You're listening to the Kirkintilloch Herald, a Q&Review recording service podcast, brought to you by our team of volunteers currently recording from their homes across Scotland. Whether you're listening via the BWBF online players, the telephone app, or our brand new Alexa skill, please phone us on 0141 772 3976 to feedback on what you want us to provide and improve upon. Please also join your family and friends in being our audio ambassadors and share our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram all at Q&Review. That's at symbol CUEANDREVIEW.
This week's edition, published on Wednesday, June the 29th, 2022. This week in history. June 29, 1966, Barclays Bank introduced Barclaycard, the first British credit card. On this day last year, England beat Germany 2-0 in Euro 2020 and proceeded to the quarter-finals. June 30th, 1859, the great tightrope walker Blondin crossed Niagara Falls from the US to Canada in just 8 minutes. The rope was stretched 1,100 feet and suspended 160 feet above the falls. On this day last year, a new survey revealed a fifth of ready meals sold by UK supermarkets were plant-based or vegetarian and were the cheapest option at the majority of retailers. June 1st, 1929, the cartoon character Popeye the Sailor was created by Elsie Cigar in the USA. On this day last year, the Duke of Cambridge and the Duke of Sussex attended a small event to mark the unveiling of a statue of the Princess of Wales at Kensington Palace. July 2nd, 1937, Amelia Earhart Putnam, American aviator and co-pilot Fred Noonan were lost near Howland Island in the Pacific during their attempt to fly around the world. On this day last year, billionaire businessman Sir Richard Branson announced he would be taking his first spaceflight with Virgin Galactic. July the 3rd, 1969, Brian Jones, who had just left the Rolling Stones, was found drowned in his swimming pool. On the same day in 1971, door singer Jim Morrison died of a heart attack in Paris.
Innovative Educator Honoured by Liz Gallagher. Bishopbriggs Education Innovator Dr. Rashmi Mantri has been presented with a Business Achievement Honour at the Inspiring Indian Women IIW Awards. Born in India and now settled in the area, Dr. Rashmi Mantri is a multi-business manager, IT specialist and educator with a PhD in computer science, as well as the founder of the world's first online abacus maths learning application. Being honoured with the Best Entrepreneur Award at the awards was doubly significant for Rashmi, not only highlighting her business achievements, but also her commitment to women's empowerment. As the head of a 99.99% women-driven workforce, Rashmi continues to provide mentorship to women across all fields. The annual IIW She Inspires Awards celebrates the work and achievements of women of Indian origin across the world. This year, more than 150 nominations were received for categories including Community Spirit, Remarkable Mentor, and Champion of the Earth, followed by 2 rounds of judging. The awards ceremony, hosted by MP Bob Blackman, took place recently at Portcullis House on the Parliamentary Estate in Westminster. Rashmi said, quote, "Women are inspiring in every area. They are very strong. So when a woman is recognised for her achievements, she can definitely inspire others." End quote. The 45-year-old started her career as a software developer and IT trainer, making a shift towards youth education after a life-changing moment when she noticed gaps in her son's mathematical ability. When Dhruv was in primary 5, she happened to ask him a simple arithmetic sum, and she said she was shocked and disappointed when he couldn't tell her the answer. Rashmi set out to help her son by teaching him an alternative arithmetic method using the abacus model she had learned in her own youth. She said, quote, It struck me that his inability to computate a simple sum reflected the actual situation of math skills in a great many children. So I decided to change the way he looked at numbers." End quote. She said the improvement in Daruf's arithmetic skills was so notable that his school arranged an assembly to share the abacus technique. In response to a growing demand for abacus tuition from fellow parents, Rashmi started an after-school tuition program, founding the British Youth International College in 2015. Rashmi has since developed and self-funded several youth and adult education programs, covering maths, English, programming, and recently cybersecurity. The college has now grown from in-person classes in Glasgow to online courses to thousands of students worldwide. She said, quote, "With the abacus learning application, kids can learn to calculate faster than with a calculator. It's not just about maths. I call it a brain development tool. There is nothing better than providing an education to someone. I am blessed that I am helping children learn new things." End quote. Article by Liz Gallagher.
Summer of Resurfacing by Council Roads Team. The Council Roads Team will take advantage of the lower traffic levels during the school summer holidays to carry out a programme of essential roads resurfacing in Eastern Bartonshire. The works are part of the Council's in-house resurfacing programme of works. The selection of roads for resurfacing is determined by assessments and a scoring system. Roads to be resurfaced: Main Street, Milngavie, 27th of June 22 to 8th of July 22 in phase sections. Kirkintilloch Road, Bishopbriggs, 11th to 17th of July. Duntucker Road, Bearsden, 18th to 24th July. Main Street, Twaker, 21st to 33rd July. And Craigdow Road, Milngavie, 1st to 14th of August. Messaging boards and static signs will be displayed at the sites a week in advance of the works to alert regular road users. Diversions are also published in the Council's social media and website. Paul Ferretti, convener of the Place, Neighbourhood and Corporate Accommodation Assets Committee, said, "This schedule of work represents a continued and sustained investment in our roads and is great news for the area. Like all councils, Eastern Bartonshire is faced with the challenge of determining which roads to prioritise for repair, but we use a robust system to help us target funding to the correct areas. These are the essential works, and we have programmed them for the school holidays when traffic is usually lighter. However, they may result in some delays, and I would urge residents to be patient while the works are carried out. I'm sure when the works are completed, road users will appreciate the improvements." Help needed for hungry families. Kind-hearted local people are being urged to support the UK's biggest food donation event this summer, with charities launching a huge recruitment drive for volunteers. This year, the Trussell Trust and FareShare are marking 10 years of working in partnership with Tesco to collect food donations in its supermarkets, and with both charities reporting increasing need for food, these donations have never been more important. The two charities have now put a call out for volunteers to help out at the collection points in stores during the Tesco food collection. This takes place at the supermarket bigger stores from June the 30th to July the 2nd. During the collection, customers will be asked to donate long-line food to help food banks in the Trussell Trust network to provide food parcels, to help people facing financial hardship, and to help FareShare in supporting thousands of frontline charities and community groups across the UK. Volunteers are urgently needed to say the charity because they play a vital role in speaking to customers, encouraging them to donate, and helping them to choose items that are most needed by local food banks and charities. Tesco will top up all the food donated during the collection with an additional 20% cash donation to the charities to support them in their important work. Every can or packet donated will make a difference. The Trussell Trust network of food banks, centres, have reported a 14% increase in food parcels handed out last year.
Electric charging. A supermarket in Eastern Bartonshire has retroactively applied for planning permission for electric vehicle charging stations. Tesco Milngavie has applied Eastern Bartonshire Council They approved the facilities consisting of a fast charger unit and a media charging unit and associated signage at its superstore in Gavins Mill Road. A statement on Tesco's website reads, Tesco, in partnership with Volkswagen and Pod Point, is installing free charging points at 600 supermarkets around the UK as part of its commitment to improving electric car charging infrastructure. The partnership has now provided its 500,000th free top-up, and during this period 3 million kilowatts of free carbon-neutral electricity has been given out. The case goes before planners shortly.
Ready to take the plunge? Calling all budding sports stars. Are you ready to raise a racket and take the plunge? Juniors aged 8 to 16 across the county are being offered a sporting chance to try out a range of fun activities for one perfect price this summer, thanks to Eastern Bartonshire Leisure and Culture Trust. The Play Pass includes access to badminton, mini tennis, pickleball, which is a cross between tennis, badminton and table tennis, and swimming. For just £4, young people who are aged 8 to 16 can enjoy a taste of all 4 activities at the Leisuredrome in Bishopbriggs, or alternatively at the Allendus Leisure Centre at Bearsden.
House price rise again. House prices increased by 2% in Eastern Bartonshire in April, new figures show. The rise contributes to the longer-term trend, which has seen property prices in the area grow by 12.3% over the last year. An imbalance between supply and demand for properties has remained the primary reason behind the climbing house prices across the UK throughout the pandemic. The need for larger deposits and constraints on accessing mortgages have pushed home ownership further out of reach for many first-time buyers. The average Eastern Bartonshire house price in April was £260,038, Land Registry figures show, a 2% increase on March. Over the month, the picture was different to that across Scotland, where prices increased 3%, but Eastern Bartonshire was above the 1.1% rise for the UK as a whole. Over the last year, the average sale price of property in Eastern Bartonshire rose by £29,000, putting the area 19th among Scotland's 32 local authorities with price data for annual growth. The highest annual growth in the region was in the Orkney Islands, where property price increased on average by 34.3% to £221,000. At the other end of the scale, properties in the Shetland Islands lost 0.6% of their value, giving an average price of £188,000. First-time buyers in Eastern Bartonshire spent an average of £191,000 on their property, £19,000 more than a year ago, and £43,000 more than in April 2017. By comparison, former owner-occupiers paid £311,000 on average in April, 62.6% more than first-time buyers. Owners of detached houses saw the biggest rise in property prices in Eastern Bartonshire in April. They increased 2.5% to £476,182 on average. Over the last year, prices rose by 16.9%. Among other types of property, semi-detached up 1.8% monthly, up to 12.5% annually, £270,498 average. Terraced up 2% monthly, up 11% annually, £193,864 average. Flats up 1.5% monthly, up 8% annually, £137,059 average. Buyers paid 38.4% more than the average price in Scotland, £188,000, in April for a property in Eastern Bartonshire. Across Scotland, property prices are high compared to those across the UK, where the average cost £281,000. 2 schools in top 10. Schools in Eastern Bartonshire are among the highest performing in Scotland, according to the Times Scotland's 2022 High School League table. Bearsden Academy was ranked number 2 in the country and Bishopbriggs Academy number 10. All 8 schools in the authority were in the top 50 of the 340 listed, and Kirkintilloch High School, which ranked 161 in 2021, came in at 49th place this year. Convener of Education, Councillor Linda Williamson, said, Eastern Bartonshire has a proud tradition of achieving excellent exam results, and despite the disruptions caused by the pandemic over the last 2 years, these high standards have been maintained. It is extremely encouraging to see our pupils have continued to thrive, and that is all down to the hard work, commitment and resilience of pupils, their families, school staff and the wider education community. We are very proud of all of them and pleased that their efforts have been recognised in the Times High School League table. Councillor Williamson added, while enabling pupils to achieve academic success that is within their reach, it is important. It is not the only focus of Eastern Bartonshire's education service. Within our schools, young people receive support they need to achieve their goals, be that work, training, apprenticeships or further education. Eastern Bartonshire consistently achieves some of the best results in the country for securing positive destinations for all young people. I hope that all our pupils who have done so well during this challenging time are successfully pursuing their chosen careers, training programmes or further education courses. Jordan Hill School in the West End of Glasgow, which is unique in that it is directly funded by a grant from the Scottish Government rather than the local authority, has topped the table for the 6th year running. The High School League table covers state schools and has been compiled based on the percentage of pupils achieving the Scottish Government's gold standard of 5 hires in 2021.
Clothing grant doubled. Families in Eastern Bartonshire entitled to a school clothing grant for the new academic year will receive double the amount that was previously paid out. This increase is to help local families cope with the cost of living crisis. The new payment for eligible primary school pupils is £240, while eligible young people at secondary school will be awarded £300. Applications for the grant can be made at www.easternbartonshire.gov.uk/school-clothing grant now. Council leader Gordon Lowe said, we've allocated £320,000 from the Scottish Government's COVID Economic Recovery Fund to double the grant award for the 2022-23 school year. So many families are feeling the pinch at the moment, and buying children everything they need to go back to school at the start of the new term is costly. By doubling the grant from last year's amount, we hope to ease the pressure on families who may be struggling financially.
Bid to improve safety on the water. The recently formed Eastern Bartonshire Partner Approach to Water Safety, ED-PAWS, has held its first event highlighting the work the group is taking to improve water safety in the area. The event, held at Southbank Marina, also included the delivery of waterside responder and CPR training, while a group of schoolchildren took part in a range of interactive activities. Councillor Paul Ferretti, the Council's convener of Place, Neighbourhood and Corporate Assets, said, Eastern Bartonshire is home to rivers, lochs, canals and reservoirs, and, sadly, tragedies and challenging rescues have occurred in recent years. By forming ED-PAWS, all agencies that have a responsibility for water safety have demonstrated their commitment to strong partnership working and the sharing of information, good practices and resources, which is key to ensuring the safety of our residents and visitors. This coordinated and proactive approach will assist in the delivery of emergency response, as well as educating our local communities of how dangerous water can be. It was also fantastic to see pupils from Laresland Primary School getting involved and learning about how to stay safe. Area Commander Joe Mackay of the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service said, the event at Southbank Marina in Kirkintilloch allowed us to talk to young children with targeted safety message for their age group, as well as demonstrate the use of throw lines that firefighters use to assist someone in difficulty. It's important for us all to remember that even on warm days the water is still very cold. Cold water shock is a real risk and can affect your breathing and coordination. If you do get into trouble, try to keep calm, control your breathing, then lie on your back, spread out your arms and legs and float to live. The Council, Fire, Police, Scottish Ambulance Service, Water Safety Scotland, RNLI, Scottish Water, Scottish Canals, HM Coast Guards and others make up the partnership.
Canopy Plan. A Bishopbriggs restaurant is seeking permission to cover its outdoor seating with a canopy. The branch of Frankie and Benny's in Strathkelvin Retail Park wants to erect a cover for its external seating. It has applied for planning permission from East Dunbartonshire Council. The Bishopbriggs branch of Frankie and Benny's survived a 2020 restructure which was triggered by coronavirus lockdowns. Parent company The Restaurant Group closed 125 outlets. The same company also operates the Chiquito and Wagamama restaurant chains. For further information on the proposed canopy, visit East Dunbartonshire Council's website. The planning application can be found under the reference number TP/ED/22/0341.
Golf boost for Megan. A mechanical and electrical engineering consultancy firm is teeing up with an aspiring amateur golfer from Bishopbriggs to support her ambition to play. Ex-Bureau UK is to sponsor Megan Docherty in what it hopes to be the first of many partnerships with talented sportspeople as the firm triples its growth in just 2 years. Megan impressed the company with her drive, determination and her resilience to practice throughout the pandemic, landing her its first sponsorship deal. Megan, who is currently studying at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga in the USA, has returned for a summer of golf and will receive funding towards lessons, equipment and travel for the next 3 years. Amateur golfer Megan Docherty said, "I started playing at 7 and began competing at 13. When the pandemic happened, we got an old net and put it in the washing line so I could hit into it. It was a bit frustrating as we live next to a golf course, but since then I've received a scholarship to study and play in America, and now to be supported by Ex-Bureau means I will be able to travel, compete and focus on playing. This backing lets me get on with playing as much golf as I can in the hope that one day I can turn pro." Megan was introduced to golf by her dad at an early age, where her talent for the game was quickly spotted by her coaches. She joined her local club, Bishopbriggs Golf Club, where she is coached by George Boswell. She is a member of Scotland's national squad and has previously won the Stephen Gallagher Foundation Vase 2020 and was the West of Scotland Girls Champion 2019. This summer Megan will be competing in the UK before returning to the US, where she juggles her studies with a rigorous programme of early morning gym sessions followed by afternoon practice. Ex-Bureau UK, started by Thomas Brady and Michael Gribben in 2018, reported a lockdown boom in 2020 with contracts worth £100 million. Ex-Bureau UK director Michael Gribben said, "We are particularly delighted to tee up with Megan, as we believe in equality of opportunity for all in the world of engineering and in the world of sport."
NHS Virtual A&E Service. More than 25,000 patients have now benefited from NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde's Virtual A&E Service. The Flow Navigation Centre, FNC, which is staffed by emergency care practitioners, provides patients with urgent telephone and video consultations, giving them direct access to clinicians without having to attend physical A&E. The service, which forms part of the Health Board's redesign of urgent care, says it now sees upwards of 1,300 patients per month receiving consultations from the comfort of home. It operates from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. Accessible by calling 111, the FNC team provides advice and treatment on a vast range of illnesses and injuries. According to the service, around 1/3 of patients who speak to the FNC team avoid a physical trip to an A&E altogether following the consultation, while others receive a scheduled arrival time at MIU, which helps minimise hospital waiting times.
Braw Beginnings, Scott's Makeover for Loved Books, by Maura Cook. Visit Scotland is celebrating the Year of Stories, which celebrates the wealth of stories inspired by, written or created in Scotland. In this Year of Stories, Visit Scotland has taken iconic books inspired by Scotland or written in Scotland and translated the first lines into Scots, one of Scotland's vibrant languages. The National Tourism Organisation has teamed up with Scots expert and writer Alistair Heather to translate the first lines of some of the world's most acclaimed books, including Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stewart, Dracula by Bram Stoker, 1984 by George Orwell, Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. The project is entitled Braw Beginnings and hosted on visitscotland.com. The translations focus on novels with existing Scottish ties, whether the authors drew inspiration for their works in the country, lived in Scotland, or perhaps are Scottish themselves. Visit Scotland's designers have also reimagined what a scene from each book might look like. A sound clip of the Scots translation can be listened to on the website. Braw Beginnings offers the world a taste of Scots and uses literature to show the verve and passion of a language spoken across Scotland and beyond. Several well-known novels have previously been fully translated into Scots, including The Gruffalo by Julia Donaldson and Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling, showing how the language could have a wider appeal beyond Scotland's borders. Inspiration for the project came from Scottish Twitter. It's been argued that Twitter is partially responsible for the revival of the Scots language in the 21st century, allowing Scots to become a widespread written language once again. Alistair Heather said, in Scots, "This project is fun. It gives us a fresh way of looking at the literature we ken well, and it gives us a chance to enjoy our Scots tongue in a new environment. It's a re-exploration. We've got to be proud of you." Two things I love introducing visitors and newcomers to Scotland to are our literature and the joy of the Scots language. This project emphasises both. Hopefully folk enjoy discovering how much great writing has Scottish connections. A love of literature and a complex multilingualism has marked out Scotland for centuries. In the 1,000 years since we've existed, the language of state has been Gaelic, Scots, then English. All three contribute to our history, our present and our literature. As more and more of the world's classic literature finds its way into Scots, Animal Farm will soon be out in Scots to join titles like Harry Potter, O Mice and Men, The Odyssey. It's right that we celebrate both the great books we've been reproduced in Scotland and any of the languages it's produced in. For more information, visit www.visitscotland.com/blog/Scots-language-braw-beginnings. A Year of Stories. Scotland's Years of Stories in 2022 will feature a range of in-person, virtual and hybrid events to suit all ages. Attending an event is a great way to catch up with friends and family, and it benefits the local community too. Our storytelling culture should bring people together and create a sense of pride that can, in turn, deliver wider economic and well-being benefits. Keep an eye out for the host of new and exciting events at some of your favourite venues and locations across Scotland that will allow you to uncover a wealth of stories. More events have been added as dates are confirmed at www.visitscotland.com/about/themed-years/stories. And that was a report by Morag Cook.
Changes urged on bereavement support offered by Morag Cook. A new report into the experiences of bereaved families and carers in Scotland following the death of a child is recommending key changes to support bereaved families and carers. The findings have been welcomed by third sector organisations. The report was produced by the National Hub for Reviewing and Learning from the Deaths of Children and Young People, which is a collaboration between Healthcare Improvement Scotland and the Care Inspectorate. The National Hub aims to ensure that the death of every child and young person is reviewed to an agreed minimum standard, and that learning from these deaths is a direct action to reduce preventable deaths in the future. The report found that families and carers' experience of care and support following the loss of their child varied considerably. While some families spoke very positively about the compassionate care and practical and emotional support they received, others faced more difficulties in accessing the help they needed. To create the report, the National Hub produced a family and carer survey in collaboration with key third sector organisations, Child Bereavement UK, Children's Hospices across Scotland, and SAMS, the Stillbirth and Neonatal Death Charity, who then distributed the survey to families and carers who had experienced a bereavement and asked them to share their experiences. Commenting, Rami Okasha, Chief Executive of the Children's Hospices across Scotland, said of the report, quote, "When a child dies, it is devastating for the family and carers. Many children in Scotland die from causes that cannot be prevented, but we should always look for learning and ask whether anything could have been done differently. Hearing the voices of parents and carers is essential. No one knows their child better. This is a very welcome report and will set Scotland on a world-leading path." End quote. You can access the full report on the Healthcare Improvement Scotland website at www.healthcareimprovementscotland.org/our-work/governance and assurance/deaths of children reviews/National Hub Report, June 2022. Article by Morag Cook.
Celebrating Pride. Royal Mail has revealed images of a new set of 8 vibrantly illustrated stamps being issued to mark the 50th anniversary of the UK's first Pride rally that took place on July 1st, 1972. Issued exactly 50 years to the day, the stamps celebrate the march that took place from Trafalgar Square to Hyde Park, which was the first to bear the name Gay Pride Rally. The stamps, specially commissioned by Royal Mail, were art directed by NB Studio and illustrated by award-winning artist Sophie Birkin. Her illustrations have featured in campaigns for brands such as Nike and Apple. Royal Mail worked with journalist and published author Amelia Abraham on the stamp issue and also consulted with Royal Mail's internal LGBT and Friends network. The new stamps will go on general sale on July 1st.
Over 60 refugee families housed. By Neil McRory. Eastern Barnshire Council has to date welcomed more than 60 Ukrainian refugees, with many more residents expressing interest in becoming hosts. However, there have also been instances of relationships breaking down between hosts and their guests, resulting in refugees becoming homeless. The latest report on the local response to the refugee crisis states that so far 28 hosts are providing shelter for 60 refugees, of whom 23 are children. A large percentage of those people are now living in Bearsden, Milngavie, and Lenzie. An additional 125 people have offered to serve as hosts under the Warm Scottish Welcome Super Sponsor Scheme. However, Council Officer Yvonne Bauer told Eastern Bartonshire Community Planning Partnership that these figures were in fact higher than in the report. She said, quote, "Even since this was prepared a couple of weeks ago, the position has evolved further, and there are actually more guests coming into Eastern Bartonshire." End quote. The Warm Scottish Welcome Scheme sees refugees arriving in Scotland being temporarily accommodated in one of 4 welcome hubs in the Glasgow, Renfrewshire, Edinburgh and Dumfries and Galloway local authority areas, before being matched with a host for longer-term housing. In the event of a relationship breakdown between refugees and their host, this could result in homelessness, which would mean the relevant services becoming required. Councillor Linda Williamson, SNP for Bishopbriggs North and Campsie, asked if there had been any instances of refugees becoming homeless after arriving in Eastern Bartonshire. Mrs. Bauer replied, quote, "We have had such challenges locally in very small numbers." End quote. Chairing the meeting, Councillor leader Gordon Lowe asked if this was likely to increase after the initial 6-month period draws to a close. It was confirmed that some hosts believed this would be the total amount of time they expected to be hosts, and this could lead to further pressure on housing services. Mrs. Bauer credited the work of partner organisations in supporting the council. The report also shed some light on the types of work the council is doing with regard to housing refugees. Everyone at a potential host property over the age of 16 must undergo enhanced disclosure checks, including those offering separate accommodation. These applications are processed by the local authority. Environmental health staff then carry out housing inspections. Sponsors must commit to providing suitable accommodation for at least 6 months. Households receive a thank you payment of £350 per month for up to 12 months per sponsor. Article by Neil McRory.
Health Hero Awards. The Scottish Health Awards 2022 are calling on Eastern Bartonshire locals to help them find Scotland's most dedicated healthcare professionals. The awards celebrate the NHS staff, support workers, volunteers and specialist teams who go above and beyond to provide exceptional care and support to patients and their families. Every year, Scotland's healthcare heroes help thousands of people in need, and never more so than during the COVID-19 pandemic. Patients, families, work colleagues and members of the public can make a nomination for one of the 16 categories, including the People's Choice Award, created to recognise the extraordinary work of NHS Scotland staff, social care staff and carers in responding to COVID. Nominations can be made at www.scottishhealthawards.com until 5 p.m. on the 21st of August.
Veteran joins Provost to mark Armed Forces Day. Report by Liz Gallagher. In what is now an annual tradition for Eastern Bartonshire Council, the Armed Forces flag was flying outside its HQ in Kirkintilloch to mark Armed Forces Day on Saturday, the 25th of June. Provost Gillian Renwick raised the special flag along with Lord Lieutenant Mrs Jill Young, MBE, the Council's Veterans Champion, Councillor Stuart MacDonald, and Robert Campbell, MBE, a retired Royal Highland Fusilier living in Eastern Bartonshire. Buildings across the UK will fly the Armed Forces Day flag over the next few days in a show of unity, gratitude and support for serving troops and their families, veterans and cadets. Provost Gillian Renwick said, "Raising this flag has become a proud tradition in Eastern Bartonshire and one that I am pleased to continue. I am delighted to be joined by the Lord Lieutenant, Councillor MacDonald and retired Fusilier Robert Campbell to help mark the occasion. We owe a debt of gratitude to our armed forces, those currently serving, our veterans who gave so much, and those cadets who stand ready." Lord Lieutenant Mrs Jill Young, MBE, added, "It is important that we never forget the service and sacrifice of our armed forces, and this day, set aside for us to demonstrate our respect, is our chance to honour them publicly and show our admiration and appreciation." In 2017, the Council signed the Armed Forces Covenant with the Ministry of Defence, a promise that those who serve or have served in the Armed Forces and their families are treated fairly. Meanwhile, members of the Armed Forces were able to get a free hot breakfast at local Tesco cafes to mark Armed Forces Day. As a thank you for their service, on Sunday, June the 26th, all serving Armed Forces personnel, around 159,000 regulars and 32,000 reservists, who presented their MOD 90 identification card at any Tesco cafe, were able to get a free full cooked breakfast, vegan cooked breakfast, sausage bap or a bacon bap. Ashwin Prasad, Chief Product Officer at Tesco, said, "We've got a long history of getting behind those who have been in the forces. We wanted to do a gesture that showed how much we value members of the armed forces." And that report was by Liz Gallagher. Opinion. Let's talk. The Kirkintilloch and Bishopbriggs Herald letters page. Please send your letters via email to kirkyherald@jnscotland.co.uk. 7 years of miserable failure from our First Minister. Sir, I'm sure many readers endorsed the comments of Douglas Cow in last week's issue, headed Undisputed Mandate. There is no undisputed mandate. The First Minister has had 7 years to create a wealthier, happier and fairer Scotland, and has failed miserably on all accounts. The current state of our dilapidated education system, and the massive gap between rich and poor pupils, are prime examples of the Scottish Government's incompetence, followed closely by the state of our NHS, which is crumbling at the bit, with a lack of doctors and nurses. They maintain they are addressing this, but at the same time they're ignoring the fact that patients in many health centres and clinics are unable to get an appointment face to face with a GP. Our social services are run down due to a lack of funding from Holyrood, despite the fact that the staff are doing their utmost to keep the services alive. Our transport system and roads are a disaster, and they're being totally ignored by the SNP government. Yet again, COVID-19 is on the increase and being ignored by the First Minister and her so-called team of experts. Law and order is at an all-time low, and lack of policing is causing concern to local communities as teenage vandalism is running amok. The lack of decorum by a number of politicians is raising concern, as the SNP in particular tried to brush it under the carpet as if they are above the law. Since the First Minister has decided to put her independence proposals to Scotland, we will see what is ahead for the country with respect to the economy, our future monetary unit, and hopefully the cost entailed. After all, Douglas Cow informs us that Andrew Wilson keeps telling us that independence will be hard and no doubt very expensive. Meanwhile, the increase in the cost of living, the increase in gas and electricity prices, the increase in fuel prices, and the massive rise in inflation are mere insignificances as far as the SNP are concerned. In the past 15 years, the SNP have continually lowered the living standards of Scottish people. Now is the time to say enough is enough for the sake of future generations. Yours, etc., Hamish Leishman, address supplied. I've got the blood, but I just cannot get rid of it. Sir, does the blood transfusion service have more than enough supplies of blood? The reason why I ask is because I've been donating blood fairly regularly during the past 30 years. But, despite having a rare blood group, I have found it more difficult to donate blood during the last few years. There was a time when there were advertisements in the media for donors, and you can just turn up at a local venue that was accepting donations. Now they are turning people away from such places and demanding that you make an appointment to donate. I get letters every 3 months requesting me to attend local donation sessions. When I phone in to make an appointment, I get told they are fully booked. According to a recent news report, they refused to accept a blood donation from a 66-year-old man who refused to say whether or not he was pregnant. Yours, etc., Bill McLaren. Address supplied. Why all this backing for Basket Case Scotland? Sir, now that the campaign for Scotland to become an independent country has been set in motion, and it would seem the UK government are likely to oppose this, it would be interesting to know why. Scotland, they tell us, is not capable of supporting itself. We are too wee, too poor and too stupid, and we need to be supported and protected from ourselves and the evil Nicola Sturgeon by our benevolent friends in London. But it is very clear the Tory government are not in any way benevolent, nor altruistic, and only act for the benefit of themselves and their accomplices. So why would they wish to continue to support the basket case that is Scotland, when they could wash their hands of us, and use the vast amounts of money saved to keep the Brexit dream alive? It's a real conundrum. Maybe one of our unionist friends might like to explain. Yours, etc., Les Mackay, by email.
RNLI Water Safety Campaign launched. The Royal National Lifeboat Institution, RNLI, and Her Majesty's Coast Guard, HMCG, have launched a water safety campaign as figures reveal over 267,000 people visited RNLI lifeguarded beaches last summer. Last year, the RNLI in Scotland saw 267,191 visitors on their 8 lifeguarded beaches and expect that number to increase this summer. What's more, the charity's lifesavers saw 314 incidents and aided nearly 400 people on the 8 beaches they patrol. Ahead of the summer holidays, the RNLI and HM Coast Guard are urging everyone to remember that if you get into trouble in the water, float to live. To do this, lean back, using your arms and legs to stay afloat. Control your breathing, then call for help or swim to safety. In a coastal emergency, call 999 or 112 for the Coast Guard. Last summer, Katie Walker, one of the RNLI lifeguards in Scotland, jumped into action when she caught sight of a young child swimming outside the safe swim area, marked by red and yellow flags, at Coldingham Bay in the Scottish borders. The young girl had been enjoying a swim with her family and friends when she became caught in a strong rip current that began pulling her away from the beach. Recognising the immediate danger, and with the girl beginning to panic, Katie quickly gathered her rescue board and broke through the surf to reach her some 50 metres from the beach. A nearby swimmer, who had also spotted the escalating situation, shouted over, instructing the child to remain calm and float on her back. This reassured her enough that she was able to calm down and await the lifeguard, Katie, who safely brought her back to shore on the rescue board. The RNLI lifeguard, Katie, said, "We are really grateful that a nearby swimmer was able to reassure the young girl by calling out the right instructions. The RNLI's Float to Live message is designed to help someone stay calm and use their natural buoyancy until either help arrives or they are able to swim to safety themselves." For further information on the water safety campaign, visit www.rnli.org/FloatUK 2022.
HMRC's bid to stop rip-off agents. New measures to stop rip-off agents taking advantage of people and pocketing their tax repayments have been proposed by HM Revenue and Customs. HMRC launched a 12-week consultation called Raising Standards and Tax Advice Protecting Customers Claiming Tax Repayments to consider the ways to better protect taxpayers from repayment agents who make routine tax claims on people's behalf but can take up to half or even more of the payment. Taxpayers can use repayment agents to make claims for repayments of tax, and many are happy with the service they receive. On the other hand, many taxpayers have complained that the scale of the charges are unclear or even hidden, while questions have been raised about how some agents secure agreements from customers. HMRC is aware of a number of specific concerns with the industry, including excessive amounts of commission charged for routine tax repayments. However, taxpayers can make a claim directly through HMRC's free online service on gov.uk and keep 100% of the repayment themselves. Jonathan Atho, HMRC's Director General for Customer Strategy and Tax Design, said, quote, "We want to make sure taxpayers receive their full tax claims, putting 100% of the money they are due into their pockets, and not be taken in by the unscrupulous practices of some repayment agents." End quote. The consultation is now open and will run until September 14th. Responses should be sent to repaymentsconsultation@hmrc.gov.uk or by post to Alex Beer, Agent Policy Team, HMRC, 14 Westfield Avenue, Stratford, E20 1HZ. Wheatley Group supports refugees. Wheatley Group has pledged to support Ukrainian refugees fleeing the Russian invasion by offering 300 available homes to local authorities across Scotland. Scotland's leading housing, care and property management group will make the offer of homes to strategic housing partners at councils in Glasgow, Edinburgh, Dumfries and Galloway, West Lothian, Renfrewshire and West Dunbartonshire. The offer on World Refugee Day by Wheatley will help support the pledge by First Minister Nicola Sturgeon and the Scottish Government that Scotland will home a fair and proportionate share of displaced people from the Ukraine arriving in the UK. Minister with Special Responsibility for Refugees from Ukraine, Neil Gray, MSP, said, quote, "We appreciate the Wheatley Group as Scotland's biggest social landlord, making homes and support available to displaced people from Ukraine. Alongside their everyday work to support people with housing needs, they have recognised the importance of assisting national efforts to home thousands of people fleeing Ukraine." End quote. In addition, Wheatley Foundation, the group's charitable trust, which invests over £5 million annually supporting disadvantaged and vulnerable people in Wheatley communities, will offer 6 education bursaries worth £3,000 over 2 years to support Ukrainian students studying at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland from September. Wheatley Group Chair Joe Armstrong said, quote, "We want to play our part in supporting Ukrainians who are seeking sanctuary from the war and provide them with a safe place to live during this ongoing crisis." End quote.
On the lookout for best view. National maritime charity, the Shipwrecked Mariners Society, is once again on the lookout for photographers to submit their favourite images of the sea for its 10th annual competition honouring the UK's proud maritime heritage. Launched ahead of the charity's Seafarers Support Week, June 26th to July 2nd, the competition encourages photographers of all abilities to submit images that capture the UK's lasting relationship with the sea, including its merchant ships, fishermen, coasts, harbours and ports. The Society is encouraging individuals to go out and capture new views for their photo albums this year, with the overall winner receiving a £500 photographic equipment voucher. In addition to the dedicated entry submissions form on the Society's website, entrants can also submit photos through its Instagram channel @ShipwreckedMariners by using the hashtag SMSPPhotoComp2022. The competition will once again be judged by a prestigious panel of experts, including the online picture editor at The Telegraph, Neil Stevenson, former Sunday Times picture editor Ray Wells, picture editor of The Eye, Sophie Battersby, and the chief executive of the Shipwrecked Mariner Society, Captain Justin Osmond RN. Captain Justin Osmond RN said, "Over the last decade, it has been incredible to see the competition grow year on year. It is amazing to see the nation enjoy our coastlines and support our maritime industry with a passion each year, and I know this competition will be another special one. Although it can often suffer from being out of sight and out of mind, our maritime industry is truly essential in keeping us going as an island nation and enabling us to go about our daily lives, with the competition a great way of showcasing and celebrating our special relationship with the sea. To enter, individuals can submit their photographs at www.shipwreckedmariners.org.uk/photography-competition-2022 before the deadline on August 29th. Photographers can also enter via email, post, or on the Instagram channel @ShipwreckedMariners using the hashtag SMSPPhotoComp2022.
Apply now for Job Start payment. Eligible 16 to 24-year-olds who are already receiving certain other benefits or tax credits are being encouraged to apply for Job Start payment. A one-off payment worth £267.65 or £428.25 if the applicant has children. Job Start payment helps young people with the costs of starting a job after a period of being unemployed. The payment can help with the costs of travel, work clothes or childcare. Job Start payment is available to eligible young people who have been offered a job after being out of work for at least 6 months to the day they were offered the job and in receipt of a qualifying benefit. Care leavers can apply for a further year up to the day before their 26th birthday and only need to be out of work and in receipt of a qualifying benefit on the day of their job offer. Young people can find pre-application advice on the mygov.scot website.
District News, Churches. St David's Memorial Park Church. At St David's Memorial Park Church, our morning service on July the 3rd will be at our usual time of 10:30am and will be led by our Church of Scotland reader, John Nicholson. During our morning worship, school-aged children will have the opportunity to go through to our halls for their own time of fun and learning with JAM. All are welcome to attend our service. There are some COVID measures still in place. However, the wearing of face masks is not mandatory at this time. We look forward to welcoming you to the church. Our Tuesday lunchtime services have now come to end until after the summer months. Further information on when these resume will be given at a later date. Kirkintilloch Church of God. The usual Sunday Good News service at Regent Hall, Regent Street, has been postponed for the time being. We are still continuing our Zoom services on Sunday evenings at 6:30pm. The speaker this Sunday will be Rodney Johnson. A warm welcome to everyone who is able to join us on Zoom. Access details for the stream can be obtained by emailing hello@regenthall.org. Coffee Corner is now closed for the summer and will reopen in September. For up-to-date and further information on our services, visit our website on www.regenthall.org. The Bible says, "This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him." 1 John 4 verse 9. St James Church. Hilton Road, Bishopbriggs. Rector, the Reverend Paul Watson, 0141 230 4080. The church is now open for socially distanced services, face mask a personal choice, this Thursday at 11am and on Sunday at 9am and 10:30am. Everyone is welcome to come along to any of these services. Do stay on for tea or coffee and fellowship afterwards. On Sunday, July the 3rd, from 3pm to 4pm, there is a session of crafty kids in the church hall. All families are very welcome to come along and enjoy activities together. The meditation labyrinth is still available in the car park for a mindful walk around. There are also virtual services in groups. For up-to-date and further information, refer to our social media. Facebook, St James the Less, Bishopbriggs. Website, www.stjamesbishopbriggs.org.uk. Springfield Cambridge Church. Morning worship on Sunday, July the 3rd, will be led by Reverend Dean Taylor and Assistant Minister Reverend Edson Duque de Castro at 11am in the sanctuary. The Sacrament of Holy Baptism will be celebrated during this service. The Sunday School joins us for the beginning of the service before continuing with their own activities in the Springfield Hall. The creche will be happy to look after your child, birth to 3 years, in room 2. Morning worship is also being live streamed on the Springfield Cambridge Church YouTube channel. A link to this can be found on the Springfield Cambridge Church website, www.springfieldcambridge.org.uk, and Facebook page, where up-to-date information about events and church organisations can also be found. Tea and coffee is available after the service in the Cameron Hall. Come along and enjoy the fellowship. There will be a vestry hour on Wednesday, June the 29th, from 10am to 11am. There will be a short weekly service of worship in the Springfield Chapel on Wednesday, June the 29th, from 11:10am to 11:30am. The June digital edition of The Record, our church magazine, is now available online. Colston Wellpack Church. As normal, our morning service this Sunday is at 11am, read by Reverend Leslie Grieve, with tea and coffee served in the hall after the service. The food bank remains open every Monday and Friday from 2pm to 4pm. All organisations and groups are closed for the summer, and hopefully will be restarting the new session at the end of August/September. The July Bible study will commence on Wednesday, July the 6th, for 4 weeks, at 7:30pm to 9pm. Follow our church services on Facebook at Colston Wellpack Parish Church, and if you require any further information on any of our church activities, contact Leslie Grieve on 07813 255 052. Home Church, Scotland. I look to the mountains. Where will my help come from? My help will come from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. Psalm 121, verses 1-2. One Church, Home Church, 5 locations: Kirkintilloch, Glasgow, North Coast, Northern Ireland, Stornoway, and online. A church for all ages. 9:30am, communion. 10am, prayer time. 10:30am, fellowship, tea and coffee available. 11am, worship service in Children's Church, followed by tea and coffee. The Sunday evening service in Renfield Church Centre is cancelled for July. However, a minibus will pick up people from the centre on Sunday mornings and bring them to the home church for the 11am service. Wednesday, study groups are taking a break in July and August. See Facebook and Instagram for up-to-date information for July and August. Lindsay Joint Summer Services. The dates for the joint summer services at Lindsay Old Parish Church and Lindsay Union Parish Church are July the 3rd, 10th and 17th at Lindsay Old Parish Church, read by Reverend Louise McClements, and July 24th, 31st and August 7th, Lindsay Union Parish Church, led by Reverend Dan Carmichael. All services start at 11 a.m. All welcome. Milton of Campsie Church. Stepping out for Christian Age. Over our 500,000 Steps in May challenge for Christian Aid is now over. More than £2,000 has been raised by Father John, Margaret, Phil, and well over 500,000 steps have been clocked. Thanks for all the sponsorship. This is all very much appreciated. The Just Giving page will close at the end of June. Our house collection envelopes have totaled over £3,000, so a huge thanks go to all of the collectors and the givers. Everyone is very welcome to come and worship with us. For more details about our church services, etc., please see the full report from Milton of Campsie News Church on the district news pages. Milton of Campsie Church. We're back in the building. No need to book. If you sit in the centre aisle, there is no need to wear a mask. If you sit in the side aisles, please wear one. Next Sunday, 3rd of July, we continue our summer sermon series entitled Action Stations. Our station will be Antioch, where the Jesus followers were first called Christians. Send us a photo of yourself with someone you know who is a Christian, a pic of someone from the past like Mary Slessor or present day Christian. Now that tea and coffee has been served after church, there is no noon Zoom coffee. And remember the phone number for a dial-in service which enables you to hear Sunday service. Just dial 01360 545 345. Time to pray is at 7:15 to 7:55 p.m. on Wednesday. There will be no meetings of time to pray during July. UR-Aid, our Ukrainian family have now arrived. See the UR-Aid donation box in the church. We're also exploring other ways of helping. If you'd like to be involved, contact Phyllis on 07582 713 463. Go Mad planning is now underway. We meet in the Eric Liddell this Wednesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Please join us. We need help with Munisimo crafts and a Munisimo related prayer journey. Please see Phyllis for more info. 07583 713 463. Scripture Union Camp, led by Julie, our minister, at Giving Back is now underway. Go Man takes place in Milton of Campsie from July the 31st to July the 11th. Look out for more details. Now only 5 weeks to go. Torrance Parish Church. You are assured of a warm welcome at our morning service at 10:30 a.m. and the youngsters meet together in Junior Church, FROG and Connect, and there is a creche available. During the school holidays there will be a holiday Sunday school. The Wednesday Cafe is now closed and will reopen at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, August the 17th. To join the service online, go to www.torranceparishchurch.online.church. To find out what's on, check the website at www.tpc.org.uk. St Mary's Parish Church. Worship on Sundays at 11 a.m. with the Reverend Dr. Ruth Morrison. All welcome. Please visit our website for more details. District News General. Fraudulence. Be aware of online scammers. Be on your guard. Online scammers are putting finishing touches to scams set to target millions of Scots, according to a new report from police, security and banking experts. Holidays, tickets for major sporting and music events, and unsolicited emails are the three prime targets for fraudsters, according to Police Scotland, the Scottish Business Resilience Centre, SBC, and Royal Bank of Scotland. The organisations have put their names to a new guide providing practical advice to ensure Scots are not burned by the latest swindles to hit the market. Online fraud and scams in Scotland have increased 69% since 2011-12, according to the latest Recorded Crime in Scotland survey. In response, the Little Book of Big Scams warns about 19 types of scams to look out for, alongside practical guidance on how to spot them and what to do should you fall victim to one. The top 3 areas are holiday fraud. Online scammers are exploiting this summer's pressures in the travel industry, coupled with a desire for Scots seeking a sunshine break. The guide outlines the traps that consumers may fall into by booking accommodation and other travel services that do not exist, resulting in stressful financial repercussions. Ticketing fraud. With sports and music events back in the diary, people need to be mindful where they buy their tickets so they are not left empty-handed. The guide advises that tickets should be bought from the official event promoter only, and to be aware of anyone asking to pay for tickets via bank transfer. Scam mail. Individuals can be enticed via post or emails by the thrill of an unbelievable offer or competition, typically targeting the elderly or vulnerable. The guide advises consumers to be wary about sharing their personal details and so-called prizes that do not require an entry. Assistant Chief Constable Gary Ritchie, Police Scotland, said, "New scams are constantly emerging, so it is no wonder that when we see businesses and individuals fall into a trap. Prevention and education are key, so this guide is full of practical advice." The Little Book of Best Scams is available to download online via www.sbrcentre.co.uk. Railway trespassing. Parents have been urged to teach their children about the dangers of the railway as the schools break for the summer. There were 1,969 trespass incidents recorded in Scotland in 2021-2022, compared with 1,632 in the year 2020-2021. In addition to this, British Transport Police, BTP, also dealt with 778 incidents of vandalism, compared with 635 incidents during the same period. Vandalism includes stone throwing, damage to shelters, fire extinguishers being let off, and graffiti. Officers continue to patrol the network to help tackle the issue and have been engaging with schools to raise awareness of the dangers of the railway. British Transport Police Inspector Michael McGee said, "The railway is not a playground. Every time someone steps onto the track, they are putting themselves at risk of serious, life-changing injury. We tend to see a spike in cases of juvenile-related trespass and antisocial behaviour during the school holidays. This summer, we're urging parents and carers to have that conversation with their children to ensure they are aware of the dangers of the railway. Safety is our top priority, and we're asking that we all speak to our loved ones to prevent further damage or serious injury." BTP and Network Rail run a hard-hitting safety campaign, You vs Train, which highlights the devastating consequences of trespassing on the railway. Visit www.youvstrain.co.uk. Household size decreases. The average household size in Scotland is now 2.12 people, down from 2.27 in 2001, according to figures published by the National Records of Scotland, NRS. Households consisting of only one person are the most common type in Scotland. The latest figures also show that the total number of households in Scotland reached 2.53 million in 2021. This was an increase of 334,300, 15% since 2001. The figures show there were 2.67 million dwellings in Scotland in 2021. 88,300, 3% of those were empty. This included new homes yet to be occupied and dwellings awaiting repair or demolition. A total of 24,000, 1% dwellings were second homes. Remote rural areas generally have higher proportions of empty and second homes than urban areas. Sandy Taylor, Head of Household Statistics, said, "These latest statistics show a continuation of the trends in the number of type of households that we have seen over the last 20 years. The growth in the number of households is partly due to an increase in the population, but it is also because people are increasingly living alone or with fewer other people." Drive safe this summer. Police Scotland is refreshing its road safety plea as the good weather continues across the country. In the summer, there is an increase in the number of cars and motorcyclists travelling as visitors flock to beauty and tourist hotspots. Road policing officers are asking all road users to be responsible and keep each other safe, with a particular focus on motorcyclists who are more vulnerable. Superintendent Stuart Mackey said, "My plea to other riders is a straightforward one. Get home safe. Every road user needs to play their part. More than 500 riders are seriously injured or killed across the country each year." Cost of living support. Around 689,000 households in Scotland will get a cash payment in the next few weeks to ease cost of living pressures. UK government ministers have confirmed initial payments will begin from July 14. They have also stated that a disability top-up will land in bank accounts in September. Nearly 1 in 4 families will receive the means-tested benefit cost of living payment, whilst nearly 1 in 10 of the population will get the £150 disability top-up. The first cost of living instalment will see low-income households initially £326 better off, as the government delivers interventions to support groups who are most vulnerable to rising costs. Work and Pensions Secretary Therese Coffey said, "With millions of the lowest income households soon seeing the first of 2 cash instalments land into their bank accounts, we are taking action to directly help families with the cost of living." Scotland Office Scottish Secretary Alistair Jack said, "We know families across Scotland are struggling with the increasing cost of living, and these payments will provide extra financial support to those who need it most." Hybrid working. More than half of employers in Scotland, 53%, have seen an increase in hybrid working amongst staff compared to before the pandemic, according to a new survey by workplace experts ACAS. Hybrid working is a type of flexible working where an employee splits their time between the workplace and working from home or remotely. ACAS commissioned YouGov to ask businesses in Scotland about changes to working practices that they have seen compared to before the COVID-19 pandemic. The poll also found that more than 2/5 of Scottish employers, 43%, have seen an increase in staff working from home full time. ACAS Assistant Director, Scotland, Ian Proctor, said, "The pandemic has been a turbulent period for businesses, and many have had to explore new ways of working."
Family announcements. In memoriam. Ella Keown. In memory of my dear mother, Ella, died June 30th, 1969. Always remembered, Robert. Langley, David. Precious memories of a wonderful husband, father, son, grandfather, and a friend to all who knew him. Passed away June 28th, 2019. Love you forever. God bless Isabel, Colin, and all the family and friends. Planning notices. East Dunbartonshire Council public notices. The East Dunbartonshire Council, brackets A803 Kirkintilloch Road, Bishopbriggs, temporary closure, Order 2022. On the 28th of June 2022, the East Dunbartonshire Council made the above-named order under Section 14, brackets 1 of the Road Traffic Regulation Act 1984 as amended, which makes it unlawful for any person to drive or cause or permit to be driven any motor vehicle, brackets, within the exception of emergency service vehicles, vehicles engaged with the works, and those vehicles requiring access to properties adjacent to the closed section of road when it is safe and practical to do so, end brackets, on the A803 Kirkintilloch Road between its junctions with Bamuldy Road and the access road to Asda/Villefield Drive, by reason of works being executed on or near this road. This order will operate from 6 a.m. on Monday the 11th of July 2022 until 6 p.m. on Sunday the 17th of July 2022. Alternative route. Alternative routes for vehicles are by way of Wester Hill Road, Wester Lumloch Road, the B812 Auchinleirn Road, Colston Road, the A803 Kirkintilloch Road, Ashgill Road, the A807 Torrance Road, and Bemaldy Road, and these routes will be signposted. Internal division routes will also be signposted. SGD, Karen Donnelly, Chief Solicitor and Monitoring Officer, Legal Services, East Bartonshire Council Headquarters, 12 Strathkelvin Place, Kirkintilloch, G66 1TJ. Civic Government (Scotland Act of 1982). Application for renewal of second-hand vehicle dealer licence. The undernoted has applied for the renewal of a second-hand vehicle dealer licence in terms of the above Act. Name and address of applicant: Arnold Clark, Automobiles Limited, 454 Hillington Road, Glasgow, G52 4FH. Day-to-day manager: David Boyd, flat 0/1, 4 Park Circus Place, Glasgow, G3 6AN. Premises: Arnold Clark, 69 Auchinleirn Road, Lenzie, Kirkintilloch, G66 5EZ. Days and hours of trading: Monday to Friday, 9 till 8. Saturday, 9 till 6. Sunday, 11 till 6. Any objections or representations in terms of paragraph 3 brackets 1 of Schedule 1 of the Act should be lodged with the undernoted no later than 28 days from the publication date of the newspaper in which this advertisement appears. Chief Deputy Executive, Education, People and Business, East Bartonshire Council, 12 Strathkelvin Place, Kirkintilloch, G66 1TJ. Town and Country Planning, Development Management Procedure, Scotland. Regulations 2013, Regulation 20, brackets 2. These applications with the associated plans and documents can be inspected online using simple search at www.ePlanning.northlanarkshire.gov.uk/online-applications or at the local office below. Anyone wishing to make a comment can do so online or in writing within 14 days of this notice, or in the case of a listed building, LBC, 21 days. Application number 22/00298/FUL. Site location: 6 Ashton Gardens, Gartcosh, G69 8EF. Proposed development: change of use of open space to private garden ground. Planning and Place Manager: Fleming House, Tryst Road, that's TRYST Road, Cumbernauld, G67 1JW. northlanarkshire.gov.uk. Games call-up for R. Katie. An article written by Ian McLean. Bishopbriggs teenager Katie Shanahan has had her place confirmed in the Scotland team for this summer's Commonwealth Games. The former Bishopbriggs Academy pupil was named among 33 swimmers and divers nominated for selection by Scottish Swimming last month. And her place in the team for the Games, which get underway on July 28th, was confirmed last week when the team was officially announced. The perfect birthday present for Katie after turning 18 on Saturday. It's the latest accolade from the rising star since she made a major breakthrough in 2021, when she returned from the European Junior Championships in Rome with 6 medals, 2 of them being gold. She also reached the final in her first ever World Championship appearance and earlier this year won her first British senior title, taking the 200 metres backstroke crown at Sheffield in April. Now she is focusing on her first major games for Scotland and is determined to enjoy all that goes along with participation in a major multi-sport competition. She said, quote, "I'm so happy, over the moon. Competing for Britain is really good, but competing for Scotland is even better, because it's your home country." Katie expects to be competing in the 200 metre backstroke and the 200 metre backstroke, the 200 metre and 400 metre individual medley, but she says she's not putting any expectations on herself in terms of medals. She said, quote, "It's my first Commonwealth Games, and I'm still quite young, so I don't feel there's much pressure. Hopefully I've got a few more in me. Obviously it would be good if I could make a few finals. Or semi-finals, but I just want to have fun and enjoy being part of a multi-sport event with Team Scotland and meeting all the different athletes." Games selection was one of the main targets of the year for Katie, who left school this year and plans to go to Stirling University to do journalism and sports studies. Another in the European Senior Championship and a return to the Rome pool where she enjoyed so much last year. The Europeans are after the Commonwealth Games, and hopefully if I swim well in Birmingham, I'll get picked for that, which would be good because it's Rome again. That article written by Ian McLean. Europe's Best Play U16 Open. Top teenage golfers from around Europe will descend on Bishopbriggs Golf Club from July 4th to 7th for a boys under-16 Open Championship, writes Craig Goldthorpe. That accolade comes after the Par 71 Parkland course was granted championship status by Scottish Golf, much to the delight of club stewards such as Secretary Billy McLaren. Quote, "Scottish Golf looked at all the courses throughout Scotland, came up with a short list, and then Bishopbriggs was the one that won this particular championship," McLaren told the Kirkintilloch Herald. What impressed them was the absolute magnificence of the course. The greens are absolutely spot on, like the course in general. The course manager, Ian Anderson, has been here for over 20 years, since he passed his apprenticeship, and he does an absolutely fantastic job. He is absolutely dedicated to the course. In the last couple of years, a lot of money has been spent on the greens. The course used to flood a lot, and we spent a lot of money on new pumps so the water was getting drained properly, and the course very rarely floods now. McLaren is chuffed that 140 boys will now get the chance to play at Bishopbriggs in the Under-16 Open, some youngsters boasting handicaps as low as +7, from England, France, Scandinavia, Portugal and Germany. Some of the boys from France are coming over with their coaches, and the worst of these boys has a +3 handicap, he added. These young guys are absolutely brilliant. There's also a team of boys from Sweden coming over with their coaches, so they will be serious contenders for success in the future. Unfortunately, there will be no local boys from the Bishopbriggs area playing at all, which is a wee bit disappointing. The tournament will feature play from 7:30am on all 4 days, with spectators welcome. Monday the 4th of July will be practice day, before rounds 1 and 2 on Tuesday, July 5th, and Wednesday, July 6th, respectively. There will then be a cut before the final round on Thursday, July 7th, making it a 54-hole tournament. Quote, "Excitement is building at the club ahead of this big event," McLaren said. All of these young guys who will be participating will be hitting the ball over 300 yards off the tee. People are welcome to come down and watch. It is a challenging course here, and rough is rough. You don't want to get into it. We will need to get spotters out on the course, as you would in any competition. McLaren also revealed that provision will be made for Bishopbriggs members to play elsewhere during the tournament, as their course will be unavailable for 4 days. Scottish Golf will take over the course from July 4th to 7th, so a lot of surrounding clubs have offered us courtesy golf for our members, he said. Because our course is closed to members for that week, around 30 other golf clubs throughout Glasgow and the west of Scotland have said that our members can go and play there for free. As the boys are amateurs, they will not receive any prize money at the Under-16 Open. The winner will be presented with a trophy by a Scottish golf representative at a ceremony being attended by Bishopbriggs captain Jackie Forbes. Youth golf is well catered for at Bishopbriggs Golf Club, with the club professional Graham McDougall running an academy for cadets and juniors. So maybe in future, one or more of those boys will play in an Under-16 Open there. Glasgow City snap up former Celtic star. Glasgow City have signed defender Chloe Warrington from SWPL rivals Celtic. The fullback joined City, having previously come through the Celtic Academy and got into the first team. She featured for Celtic in the UEFA Women's Championship League last season and picked up Legacy Cup and Scottish Cup winners' medals, helping Celtic beat City in both finals. The 20-year-old, who was played for Scotland at under-15 through to under-19 level, becomes head coach Aileen Gleeson's fourth signing of the summer after Amy Muir, Kinga Kozak and Abby Grant. She said, quote, "I'm excited to be part of Glasgow City. I know how much of a successful club this is and look forward to being part of their future successes. It's an honour to be here. I feel like it's the right time for me to continue my development at a great club." Gleeson added, quote, "As a homegrown player, Chloe has valuable experience of Scottish football, which is of great benefit. As a person and player, Chloe is determined and diligent, important characteristics to us at Glasgow City. I have no doubt that Chloe will enhance our team." City have also launched their season tickets, with more SWPL games, 16, than ever before at Petershill Park, in what will be their 25th anniversary season. Youth season tickets will remain free to all under-16s for a second year in a row, and the club will also launch their first ever discounted seniors tickets for over 65s. Season ticket holders will also get a 20% off entry to cup ties.
Thank you for listening to this week's Kirkintilloch Herald podcast, brought to you by Q&A Review, print speaking to the blind. If you have any feedback, you're welcome to call us on 0141 772 3976. If you enjoyed this recording, feel free to subscribe to our channel.